Hi, I'm here for the next part of my favorite characters ranking. In 24th place is Charlie Morningstar from Hazbin Hotel. Something I do want to make clear, I am a very religious person, and because of that, it could seem like I would be somebody that could be offended or really not like Hazbin Hotel. And there are certain things about it that I feel awkward about, but I do love the show, and I think that Charlie actually shows something that I feel very strongly about, and that is redemption. Redemption is such an important thing, where there are people that have done bad things and they can become better people, and that's what Charlie really shows off, and that's how she feels. Charlie is one of the best characters out there for showing the power that can come from not giving up on others and really working hard to inspire others. So I could understand if you don't like Hazbin Hotel. There's certain things that, um, like Adam being made to a villain. I question that. I kind of feel uncomfortable about certain stuff like that. But I love the very powerful lesson being explored about redemption and how people that have done some pretty awful things have some good in them and they can become much better people. And I think that Charlie is such an important character because of that. So um, I think she's wonderful. In 23rd place is the Duke of Wesselton from Frozen. The Duke of Wesselton, I think, needed a lot more screen time, and even with him not having as much screen time as I think that he deserved and needed, I think that he's one of the most entertaining and memorable villains out there. I've seen his scenes so many times, and after so many years of watching his scenes, I still love seeing him. I still feel like rewatching his scenes after all this time. And the Duke Weston is an amazing character that I would love to see more of, and he is a delightfully entertaining villain and a really great enemy for Elsa. In 22nd place is Fisher Biscuit from Littlest Pet Shop. Littlest Pet Shop is an adorable show. Um, Lots of really cute, upbeat characters, but for me, the big standout is Fisher Biscuit. A character that can be a bit confusing, where sometimes he seems like a nice, responsible father, and other times he seems like a very over the top villain, which I love. And Fisher Biscuit is such an entertaining character. One of my favorite villains, and such a consistently great character, even if he often feels like an inconsistent character. In 21st place is Mayor Humdinger from Paw Patrol. Quite possibly the funniest animated villain. I love Mayor Humdinger so much. Paw Patrol has so many likable characters that are considerate, upbeat, and it's a delight to watch them. But Mayor Humdinger provides entertainment to Paw Patrol. He is one of the funniest, pettiest villains that I've ever seen, and I think that he is such a great villain to have for Paw Patrol. He's delightful to watch. I enjoy him so much, and he's one of my absolute favorites. He's the big character that makes Paw Patrol so funny, and I love him. In 20th place is the character that I believe is the greatest comedy relief of all time, Lloyd Asplund from Code Geass. Professor Earl Lloyd Asplund is one of the funniest characters of all time, and oftentimes I'm not the biggest fan of comedy reliefs. A lot of times comic reliefs feel like they don't add a lot to the plot, so it's easy to forget about them, and oftentimes it feels like they're taking away screen time that can be spent on much more important characters, and they can often be annoying and obnoxious. But Lloyd is one of the most delightful characters out there. I love the sound of his voice so much. I love Liam uh, I believe Liam Bryan or Liam O'Brien. I love his voice so much. One of my favorite voices for a character, and Lloyd is delightful, and he doesn't feel like one of the most important characters of the plot, but with Suzaku working for him, he still feels relevant. He feels like a character that should be there, and he's hilarious, and I love him, and I think that he should be the definitive big example of how to do a comedy relief correctly. Um, in 19th place is Emperor Charles from Code Geass. I love Emperor Charles. He's not a very nice person. He is a great um, arch enemy for Lelouch, and he really is incredibly important to the plot and what is going on, and he's a fascinating character that I do really enjoy. And what's interesting about Emperor Charles is that at first he seemed like a pure evil character to me. But what's interesting is learning that he thinks what he's doing is right, that it's important to be done. And I thought that was fascinating. It really showed me that even a lot of people that seem really evil, and even a lot of people that have done such horrible things, a lot of them can have somewhat tragic or somewhat sympathetic qualities, and it shows that there really can be some good in everyone. Unfortunately, Charles doesn't live up to the good that he could have had, and he does a lot of terrible things, but I think he's a very fascinating character. A character to root against and to want to see Lelouch stop him and stuff like that, although not stop him as harshly as Lelouch ends up doing, but still stop his evil plans. But Emperor Charles is interesting, really shows a lot of the humanity of the world, and it's easy to focus on how even good people have flaws, but it's also interesting to think about how even bad people can have um, good intentions, and I think that's fascinating. So I think Charles is one of the most interesting villains because of that. In 18th place is the Joker from Batman. Uh, the Joker is an amazing archenemy for Batman, one of the most entertaining villains out there, one of the most stylish villains out there, one of the most consistently entertaining villains out there. And I don't love every version of the Joker, but there's been so many amazing takes on him. He's one of the big best examples of how fun and yet intimidating a villain can be. The Joker is amazing. In 17th place is Giovanni from Pokemon. Giovanni really showed me something, that a character can really have a memorable and important impact on the plot without much screen time. Giovanni really feels like the big main villain of Pokemon, yet he doesn't appear that often, and when he does, he often doesn't appear for very long. But he's why Jesse, James, and Meow do what they do. So even in episodes that they're in that he's not in, he still matters. He's still important. I thought that was fascinating. It really shows how important somebody can be without even having that strong of a presence. Of course, Giovanni's a villain, so it has an important presence in not the most helpful way for the heroes, but as a character impacting the story, he is fascinating, and I love how mysterious he is, and how hidden he is, and how little is known about him, and he's such an intimidating, cool villain. One of the best examples of how to do a big villain in charge. I love Giovanni. In 16th place is Blue from Blue's Clues. One of the sweetest, most adorable characters ever. Blue is so generous, so sweet, so eager to help others, and spend time with others, look after her friends, her family. She's one of the most lovely characters out there. One of the characters that brings the most happiness into my life. And is she a super complicated character? Not really, but I absolutely adore her. She's wonderful. In 15th place is Fluttershy from My Little Pony. One of the most precious characters out there, a character who knows how to pull on the heartstrings, such an innocent, sweet character, and a character who it's very touching and moving to see her get over some of her shyness and really grow and really embrace friendship. Absolutely wonderful character. Deeply care about her. In 14th place is Mio from K-On! Mio is very much feels like Fluttershy. Love her for a lot of the same reasons. A very precious character, and like Fluttershy, often feels like it's hard to fully express her feelings, and it's great to see her get over some of that stuff and really explore friendship. And it's powerful, it's inspiring, it's wonderful stuff. In 13th place, Natsuki from My Jaime, a character that can seem a little intimidating, but deep down has a very kind heart and is a very powerful, cool, intimidating character, but also has very touching, beautiful interactions with others. And there's a lot of amazing stuff explored with her character. She really pulled on my heartstrings, and I really cared about what happened to her. And she is an amazing character, one of the best out there. In 12th place is Ayano from Yoro Yori. Yoro Yori is a very comedic show, so it could be easy to not fully notice what an amazing character Ayano is, where I think that she is quite possibly one of the best, maybe the best example of how to do I believe it's called a tsundere, a character that feels often acts rude to the character that they really care about. Aino has that, but she is in middle school, so she is very much learning, and she really learns to grow past that in a lot of ways, where early on she's being rude and quick-tempered to Kyoko, but after getting to spend more quality time with her and her other friends, she really gets to open up and be a kind, hardworking, caring person that looks after others and is able to be more expressive about her feelings. And it's in a show that's as comedic as Yoro Yori, where a lot of the characters are made out to be jokes. It can be easy to lose sight of that, but Iono's journey really is beautiful, and it really does pull on the heartstrings, even if it is in such a silly show. A very funny show, but so yeah, I love Iono. In 11th place is Princess Cornelia from Code Geass. Quite possibly the coolest villain ever, and one of the most sympathetic villains ever. There are times where even though Cornelia was a villain, it was hard for me not to root for her, be like, oh yeah, Cornelia, stop Zero! Cornelia is one of the coolest characters. She is just about as awesome as can be. A villain that has a lot of morals and really cares about those that work for her and really treats them with respect, but is also a very villainous character with bad goals, and she's such a fascinating character and really shows a lot of nuance, and is quite possibly one of the greatest villains of all time, while also being a character that is sympathetic and I really care about. So Cornelia is in 11th place, and only the top 10.